you share the presentation, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our public Prometheus-X launch online. We are happy to have all of you here. And I know that right now some people can wonder that there is a delay in launching, but of course, there are some technical issues as always, so no worries, you will receive everything on time, and we are also recording this session to make sure that everybody who cannot participate today can also check the video and our presentations later in a convenient time. So my name is Katarzyna Leduc. I'm communication and community manager at DIO, and today I have an honor also to participate in this Prometheus-X public kickoff. We have plenty of things to discuss today. We are very happy to have both live event and also online event. We are here in Paris, as you can see on the second camera. Probably you can see it. Just give me a check whether it's possible to share it with you. Yes, we are many people here, happy people, very bright experts, and we are welcoming you to this session today. And yes, today we're going to have a couple of presentations, and then at the end, of course, we are going to have a Q&A session. For your information, once again, we are recording this session. In chat window, you can also drop us messages in the sense of remarks or questions. We will try to come back to those questions at the end of our event. And of course, at the end, you will also see contact data for us, where and how you can reach us, and that would be it. And I'm going to share presentations with you because we have plenty to see today. And just give me a second. Perfect. I think it's working. In a proper way, hopefully. Right. So I will ask you, Marcello, to take over and make the introduction after a couple of introduction words from my side.
Thank you, Katarzyna, and welcome everyone that is online and here in the room. My name is Marcello Grita. I am General Manager for Prometheus-X and Project Coordinator for this project. Just for you to know, we have started our session this morning. We have a very productive day. We will have another continuation of workshop tomorrow, where we will lay down the final details of the next 3 years. For today, we are going to cover obviously a general introduction of Prometheus-X, and we're going to present our initial first use cases, with many to come hopefully afterwards, and how we transition from the US use cases to the technicalities on how to implement them. So the creation of the building blocks for the data spaces. Then we're gonna have some session on how you can all be getting involved, Q&A, and eventually a summary of this session. So with all said, I would like to introduce you now Matthias de Brieve. Matthias is a co-founder and president of Prometheus-X and is CEO of Vision. So Matthias, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Marcello. Happy to have everybody here today. So I'll give a general introduction about what we're trying to achieve here. And so if you're here today, online, in person, I think it's because we all agree we need trustworthy data sharing. And we need this data sharing to be human-centric so that people are empowered. We need to, for it to be decentralized so that we don't rely on one single solution. And we need open digital commons to make it work. And that's what we all believe in. And that's what we are here to achieve. This is a paradigm shift. This will allow, in a sense, to go from the centralized world we have today, where some big players are gatekeepers and control everything that happens online and our lives and our destinies, to something much more decentralized, where people are free, are in charge of their data, and can be empowered and use next generation services. So what do we need to make this happen? We need data sharing services. So we need new kind of services that allow organizations and people to share data with trust. We need open source components to make these services happen. And we need also committed organizations that will connect to these services to power new use cases, as well as governance and business models to make it worthwhile and to make it last. And so that's what we have brought together and that we are working on with Prometheus-X. We have 19 partners that are providing these services and that are working on a series of 20 building blocks to make this data sharing happen. We have about 200 organizations that are bringing their use cases, their data, their AIs in different sectors, in skills, in tourism, in smart cities to make it happen. And we've all come together in this organization, Prometheus-X, under one governance to define this business model. And we have now 23 million euros to launch it all together and to make it powerful. So just a general aspect, what do we focus on? It's really this layer here that are open source components so that the different data spaces, the different projects can use them to make this trustworthy data sharing happen. So it is, if you are here and you are looking to implement data sharing use cases, you will be able to use these building blocks. They're open, and you'll be able to boost your project by using them and by benefiting from this great community. So if we look a bit concretely at one use case, we are working a lot on skills data space use cases. So how can people control their skills data that they have inside schools, inside job boards, inside different technologies about their profile, what they want to do, their different past learning and professional experiences? How can they mutualize that is today scattered across a lot of different organizations, big and small, public and private? How can they take that control back and then allow that data to be reused so that they're matched with the right opportunities, job and training opportunities? So these are some generic use cases we are working on. And one specific one is one we're working on with the Île-de-France region, where it is to help young unemployed people to find a job. They have some data about themselves in different edtechs. They can share it to be matched with different job and training offers that come from a various set of catalogs. And in the middle, these Prometheus-X building blocks are used by a solution called Visions Trust to operate this data sharing and make it easy to use. So let's see a bit more concretely how that works. Let me share screen again. Okay. So here, let's see if we can translate here. So here, the person arrives in their own data space portal. As I said, is a young unemployed person that doesn't really know exactly what they want to do. And they are asked to use some tools. So for instance, here in Orientois, they will be able to determine their soft skills and what kind of job sectors would be good for them. They can easily log in. They'll be able to use that service, generate some data about their skills, their preferred job and sectors. Then when they come back, they can then share that data from the skills, the kind of jobs they like, with this AI that is connected to the data space as well, and that has connected with all the job and training catalogs in France. And so they can easily share that data with their consent so that they can see the matches with training and job offers here directly. And the value for the person is clear. They can use different services to assess their skills, and then they can easily share it with all the job boards and all the training catalogs. They don't need to re-enter each time their information into each job board, into each catalog. So that's for the person. Now, how do organizations work with it? Well, organizations also have an interface and different building blocks. Let's say you are the Paris region, you can come and describe your use case, what you want to do, what kind of services you're looking for, what kind of data you're looking for. You can then be matched with relevant providers or find them in the catalog. So for instance, you're looking for data about training offers, you can see the different providers. You can invite them to your use case. You're looking for services to match people with jobs. You can see the different providers here and add them to your use case. And then you'll be able to configure it a bit more and describe the governance aspects, the business aspects, who is responsible for what are the different conditions on the usage of data, who pays for what, and that will form a contract. And based on that, you will be able to automatically share data and also generate such interfaces. So we already have different, very concrete use cases that are working and different building blocks to make that happen. And now this is really what differentiates us, is that we have a first value on digital commons, meaning that all these components that you saw, the catalog, the consent, the contract management, and so on, rely on open source code that everybody can reuse in any solution, and you're not tied to any one solution. So you can retake them into your own project. But we also have a common governance. So all the different members come together to decide the technical choices, how these building blocks will work together, what are the standards we use, and so on, and what we need. And one last thing is that we are just not just developing an infrastructure to develop an infrastructure. We do it for precise use cases. So we start from concrete use cases that organizations and people need and have. And from that, we see what infrastructure is needed. And to do that, we have a lot of great partners. So you see here with our use case partners that are the ones that are defining the use cases, providing the data, the AI services, describing what kind of value can be brought by interconnecting, and they define what kind of building blocks they need. And then we have a various set of infrastructure partners that develop the building blocks, that produce these open source components, and that then operate them easily as a service, as you saw in this catalog. And so all together, we come to power this new era of data spaces that is based on these open source components, that has a lot of great use cases, and that provides already existing great building blocks and more to come. And that's what we will be presenting you in more detail today, starting with the usage scenario and the first use cases we'll be focusing on.
Thank you, Matthias. Great demo. Really enjoyed it, and I'm sure it's going to be super useful as soon as we launch officially. the product. Yes, so now let's see now the use cases that we're going to look today. We have 6 of them represented in this rota. On one side, we have the personalized skills matching presented by Envision, decentralized skills analytics by IMEC, VR learning analytics, LECNAM, travel assistant from Digital New Deal, personalized learning analytics by Nokufu, and motorized data for AI Rejustify. So let's give the floor now to Helco Lehmann, Director of Research and Digital School Innovations at the IMC. Helco, please come and present your.
And I will take over because Helco needs to be added. Just a second, please.
Do you see my screen?
Just give us a second, please, Helco. Perfect.
Great. Well, thank you, Marcello and Matthias, for the introduction, of course. I'm starting here with the use cases. The first one is skills analytics and forecast. We as IMC are very happy and proud also to be part of this endeavor, EdgeSkill. And here we, in this use cases, we don't focus that much on the end user, but the main target is actually the organizations, and organizations face a lot of challenges due to changes in their environment. They have to sustain and develop their business strategy, and they have to do that also through upskilling and reskilling of employees. The main benefit, of course, of predicting skill demand and recognizing up and reskilling opportunities is to support these change processes and reduce costs and risks associated by wrongly predicting what basically organizations need tomorrow. And as Matthias also was pointing out, skill data and also skill demand data, so the data about the skill demands on the market and so on, is distributed in all kinds of institutions and organizations. It is also highly business sensitive. So, I mean, which organization wants to share the skills of all their employees, for example, with the competition? And it's also highly personal data. So accessing all this data in a way to enable forecasting and analytics in a comprehensive way is challenging. And data spaces provide a way of creating trust in policies and compliance processes for the participants in a data space to share their data with other players for their own interest and also for the interest of their partners. And this, in this way, enables also service and data providers to enable the development of and provisioning of analytics and forecasting functionalities that they can provide for the organizations. To look at the persona, so, well, we look at the responsible for example, strategic HR development in an organization, which is responsible for aligning the business strategy with the HR strategy. And what he needs is basically to assess the status of its existing workforce, map it to actually existing skill matrix and skill models, in which also skill market data is available. They need to benchmark with the respective sector so that they know that the people that they employ are actually fitting for the job, and identify skill gaps which have to be bridged, for example, by career paths and development path opportunities. That eventually have to be matched also to the people. People have to be motivated to take up these reskilling opportunities and develop their careers, which closes the loop actually to the scenario also that Matthias was showing before. And of course, the EdgeSkill partners provide a number of services and data sets that we can use to implement this kind of use cases. So they act in different roles, typically data providers, service providers. We have spoken about AI matching services, analytics services, and of course data providers for market data, skill data, and so on. I also want to mention the enablers, so that enable organizations to participate in data spaces, to share their data. And I think IMC in this usage scenarios is one of the partners that is in this role. So we want to enable, for example, our pilot partners in this project to share their organization data about job profiles, job positions, and etc. With market data, to join it with market data, skill modeling data about training opportunities, etc. that come from our partners, for example, MindMatcher, NeoBrain, and Grand École de Numérique, and allows basically our pilot partner to use then services to do analytics, such as provided by Palm, Head AI, and Trouve ta Voix. And that closes my little presentation of the usage scenario, and I hand over back to Marcello.
Thank you, Elko. We are switching screen now. Thank you for your presentation and great use case. We are moving now to the next use case. And while we're doing so, I will encourage everybody to ask questions in the Q&A section of Team. There are some delays, which means that we are unable to answer those questions or to address those questions right away. But I will read them and I will try to address them as soon as I receive them. There will be also a session for Q&A at the end of the presentation. Okay, so we have some issues here. Use case. We were having some use case. Yeah, please hold with us a couple of seconds. Thank you. I hope that you see now the full screen, or maybe you still see me. We don't see the presentation. Interesting. Okay, so then I apologize for this technical issue, I suppose well, that's what they say. So the next use case is personalized skills matching. Again, Matthias is on the floor. As I said, Matthias is founder and CEO of Visions. So Matthias, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is tied to the example and the little demo I showed. If we look at what Helco just presented, general use cases to assess what kind of skills we need, who do we need to recruit, who do we need to train on what skills, then once you have that generic information on this or that topic, you need then to find the people to recruit or to train. And how do you match people with the right opportunities? And that's a bit the general issue and context of this general usage scenario is that each of us has a lot of our data scattered across a lot of different organizations on our skills. How can we bring them together and how can we be matched with the right opportunities. And with this human-centric approach we bring, each person can be in charge in the recommendations they get, in the preference they set, what they want or they don't want to do, and they can gather a very precise profile on their data, on their skills, and on what they need to do. And we need a data space to make it happen because, as I said, all this data is scattered across a lot of different organizations. So we'll be working on such use cases for students, for high school pupils, for unemployed people, but also for employees. If we take one persona, it's here Matilda. She's a UX designer, and she needs to now keep in pace with the AI-powered design tools. She needs to find us the right training with the support of her employer so that she stays with the right skill set. She will need to foster data about her individual preferences, about her job, about the kind of tasks and skills she mobilizes each day so that she can be precisely matched with the right training. And for that, we need different tools to do the skills assessment, the skills gap, and the matching. And so fortunately, we have in Prometheus-X a wide set of partners that are working with students, with pupils, with unemployed people, with employees, to bring them this kind of use cases. And we have a lot of data providers that have data about these people, and service providers that have the right AIs, the right skills assessment tools to make it happen. So we'll be working on that in use cases across Europe. And if we take just one example in France, let's say Matilda, she is now employed, but she has taken previously in her past some classes in Institut Mines Telecom, which is a university. She has then at some point used Mind Matcher tool to assess her skills, put in some data about her job preferences, and now she's looking for the next training. That training data in France is held by Grande École du Numérique that has all the data about the training offers. And Head AI is an AI tool that can match Matilda profile from these different data sources with the training from Grande École du Numérique. And this can be diffused to all employees in France, thanks to the different partners we have. And thanks to the data space, this is one use case of some players that can be interconnected to provide that better service to Matilda. And that's what we will be concretely building, thanks to the building blocks I showed, and thanks to a lot more we will show in a minute. And so now, to continue, if we think about Matilda, she is doing the training. How do we personalize that training thanks to this new usage scenario?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matthias. This is a follow-up, basically, of the same of the use case with a new one, more specific, distributed learning analytics to personalize education. To present the use case is Mathieu Sonnati, which is the CEO of Inokufu. Mathieu.
Thanks, Marcelo for the introduction. So yeah, we'll talk here about the usage scenario regarding distributed learning analytics to personalized education. So this is a big topic, but basically the context is now learning is happening everywhere. It's happening in digital place, in physical place, and again, as Matthias mentioned, data is scattered across several applications, LMS, and so on. So the idea here is how can we help the learner to easily gather and share their own learning data, and in order to get more personalized learning. So this is directly linked to the right to data portability that is listed in the GDPR, but that is hard to implement. So most system give you the right to data portability by giving you the right to download a zip with all your data, but this data is not easily usable. The idea here is how we can make it more useful. So effectively, the user has a right to data portability, but it's something that can be used. And this can only exist in a data space environment because we need a trust framework, we need interoperability, and also we need compliance with the regulation. So the target is on the individual side, this is targeted for learner, and on the organization side, this is more targeted to training organization, school, university, and so on. And for the segment, this is the world segment from higher education, lifelong learning, and even K-12 segment. So to give you a more specific example of what we are imagining, of what we imagine. So here you have Alexandria. She's an Erasmus student in ancient history, but she is also very interested in web design, and she learned web design on a MOOC platform, and also she learned by herself how to code with an app. And she wants to get lifelong availability of all this data that is scattered among the LMS of the university, among the MOOC platform, and among the coding app. She wants to be able to get this data directly in her own cloud drive, and then be able to share this data when she needs it in the future. For example, when she searches for a job, or she wants to change career or start a new training. In terms of type of data, we are talking about learning record and learning objects. And in terms of service, it will be about, I mean, most of the use of this service will be recommendation engine, training, learning activity, job. And so we are, to make this working, we also plan to build a personal learning record store, and also a system to have a better quality, to improve the quality of the metadata of learning object. So regarding the partner, we have a lot of partners across Europe, I mean, across, especially in France and Germany. And the idea is to, among these partners, is to implement this first use case of how can we help learner to have access to their learning data, and then share them with the various partners they work with. So here is an example of a specific use case. So if we take the example of Alexandria, how would it work in real life? So Alexandria has some data about her past learning experience in some application related to France Travail. France Travail is a new employment service provider in France. And she wants to switch career because she learned ancient history, but it's not what she wants to work on for the rest of her career. So she's using an application called Bicomino to learn more about the various jobs that are in high demand in France. And so by using this app, she generates new learning data. And so basically, she wants to be able to get all this data from the past learning experience and from her current learning experience to get it in her own cloud drive. So for example, on Cozy Cloud. And then from there to be able to share it, for example, with Loria. Loria is a laboratory from the University of Lorraine that will run some training on this data in order to, for example, determine some job mobility model based on the data of many learners, such as Alexandria. And that's it for my usage scenario.
Thank you, Mathieu. Thank you very much. Our next Yeah. Let me see if there is any question. Okay, doesn't look like there is any question. So we'll continue with the presentation. We will have still time for presentation, so for questions. So the next use case is presented by Thierry Kościelniak, as Chief Digital Officer of LECNAM, and the use case is video for XR. Thierry?
Thank you, Marcello. Thank you, all of you. So it's my pleasure for different reason, because as the Chief Digital Officer of Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers, the National Conservatory of Arts and Crafts in Paris, I'm absolutely overwhelmed to have you, all of you here in the CNAM theater and online. I hope you like the theater view. So I'm going to speak about this use case on video for XR. XR stands for extended reality, which are the immersive technologies on virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So our use case is based on issues on how to assess a session on virtual reality to train people, to train students, to train learners on virtual reality for technical gesture. So we have quite some times of experience at CNAM on using a virtual laboratory of chemistry to perform this kind of experiments, virtual reality doing experiments. So how to assess them, and this question can be answered by using videos. So that's for the project Video for XR. So videos are recorded within the virtual reality headset, and this is a possibility to assess the skills mastery of the learners. So we decided to set up a project with our partners. So Mimbus, which is a French company developing the VR modules and specialized in training on technical gesture, and Ubicast, which is a French company on providing a video server. But as you will see, it's not only videos; it's also video with rich medias. So in this case, we wanted to have a dedicated data space on this project, because we will need to track, so to have a detailed tracking on the video, to have the feedbacks on the learners on the interface, and we will need to provide performance metrics and a self-learning environment. So at the end, both the students and the teacher will get a progression analysis on their screen. So we did the proof of concept with 3 personas, one educator, one teacher, a student, and a data analyst in between. So what kind of data are we going to produce? We are going to produce this kind of performance data. That means what kind of gesture is being performed on the virtual reality. Is that do we need a precise gesture, or do we need a quick gesture? Depends on how the teacher is going to assess. And as the progress matrix is definitely, we really need to tell the student if he's going well or not well. And also we will need the data about the interaction on the students with the virtual reality environment. So all of this data, we will get feedback responses and qualitative data as well. So what kind of IT services are needed in this project is of course, we will need to work with a cloud provider for the cloud storage. The data analysis platform will have been already chosen. It's an open source project coming from members and called Vulkan. It's open source virtual reality and learning analytics platform. As it is open source, so we will be able to develop API to any providers of learning analytics on VR or on any different modules for companies that want to join the project. We will provide also machine learning APIs and, of course, a data management system. So all of this will need a good user interface design. So tools are going to be developed as well. And as on virtual reality headset, you can record the video, but also you can record biological data, such as eye tracking, or are your face is going red because you are sweating and stuff like that. So we will need a strong cybersecurity solution for that, as it is biological data. We need ethics and strong security on this data. And at the end, of course, we will interface with the learning management system, such Moodle, which is used at CNAM, but of course, with standardized interoperability standards, we will perform this kind of interface. So the data providers still are the group of CNAM members and Ubicast, but of course, any company that is working on this subject on VR is absolutely welcome. And service providers are members and Ubicast. And as I told you, we will need more people, more partners for cloud and data processing. So this is a summary of the use case. As you can see, the video recorded in the headset is the way for the teacher to assess. And it's not only a video, it's also a timestamp that comes directly from the pedagogical scenario that has been designed in the members interface and then inject into the Vulkan platform. So there's a lot of work to do. There are a lot of experiments to perform to check if our ideas are really feasible on the user interface, to show the student how well he's performing, and how the teacher will be able to assess this progress. So I'm very thrilled to be to this Prometheus Bring the Fire project, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Thierry. Before moving forward, do we have time to address a question? I think the best one would be either Matthias to address the question or Matt. So the question is, how do we take care about the multilinguality and the possibility to share skills in various languages? Matt? Sorry to take you in.
Yes, so regarding the, I would say, the processing of data to make it interoperable and compatible, it's a key point. So if we look specifically at the learning record, so this is defined by the XAPI standard. I mean, this is the standard we choose. And in this standard, you can express in various language. For example, the title of the video that the learner has watched. So by default, so multilinguality is built in, and definitely we will be able to translate, especially in the key language here will be English, of course. But if the data has also the original language, we can keep it. So yeah, definitely it's built in. And regarding the second part of the question is yes, the interoperability of skills. So I'm not the most expert on this, but there are some partners in the Edge project that are working on the interoperability of various referential skill referential. So in France we have CodeRom, Formacode. In Europe there is ESCO. Obviously, the idea is to be able to go from one skill expressed in one referential and to be able to translate it in another referential, because this is again key for the interoperability. And again, data space is all about interoperable data exchange.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. Okay, it's time for the next use case. So this is Wojtek Seman, CEO and co-founder of Rejustify, and he's going to talk about mutualized data for AI. Wojtek?
Grazie, Marcello. Hello, everybody. My name is Wojtek. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Rejustify. As compared to what you have seen so far, we are not a data provider. We are not an AI provider. We are a data infrastructure partner. And our main task is to automate data preparation from decentralized data sources. The context is that if you imagine what jobs we had 20, 30 years ago and you compare it to jobs today, there's a big difference. Jobs evolve, individuals can be trained, and people can be reskilled so that they are given a new purpose again. And today we have a lot of data, as you might have seen at the previous use cases. There's data from schools, there are data from training providers, and there are even AI providers matching those with potential job opportunities, or basically power boosting an individual with training to unlock some jobs. And these recommendations are based on prediction algorithms, and sometimes these algorithms have to be rebalanced and renormalized to reflect the updated reality with time. Typically, a new data set has to be compiled for retraining an algorithm. And this is a very complex and time-consuming task that we aim to simplify for all the AI providers. For example, if you imagine Sarah, a data scientist working at an agency that is predicting managerial success of employees from their psychological traits. They have an algorithm, but after some time, they figure out it's drifting away and they need to retrain the algorithm. And now comes the cumbersome task of looking for the best data, how to actually build a balanced training set composed of typically smaller data sets coming from many different places somewhere out there. And what Sarah has to go through is to find the data sets, well, access them, download them, plug them together, and she wishes to have it done in a meaningful time. And what she wishes for is to basically have it done quickly and save time and effort when building this, so that she could automate this task and maybe even retrieve the data on a daily basis if needed. In this usage scenario, we have two types of partners. We have data providers on one side, typically schools, training organizations, employers, recruiters, or even individual data that are anonymized. And on the other side, we have AI providers. For us, these are data users that are doing the skill evaluations, recommendations, and job matching. This would be our typical clients. But nothing is set in stone, and this is also an opportunity. If AI becomes so available, data providers can be turned into AI providers as well. So there are big opportunities. And in this example, Sarah, she managed to find a data set that is composed of 3 different data sets composed of little pieces of data that were available. And instead of making it manually, we managed to help her to have it at hand in real time. Thank you. Cello.
Thank you, Wojtek. Great presentation. And the next use case is now within the skills on education, as we are trying to expand our use case and show that building blocks can actually be used for other scenarios. I'm welcoming Olivier Dion, which is the CEO and co-founder of Prometheus-X and lead My Travel Connect for Iona-X. Olivier, please, My Travel Connect.
Thanks a lot, Marcello. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here today with you. As Marcello just said, I'm not working in the skills sector, but we wanted to work together with Prometheus-X because we share the same goals and ideas about human centricity and the way that we want to decentralize data sharing. And this applies as well to my sector, which is tourism, travel, transport, and mobility. Through my think tank called Digital New Deal and working on digital sovereignty topics, we created a few years ago a startup called Prometheus-X, and here is the product we are doing now called My Travel Connect, which will be, so My Travel Connect will be the personal data sharing tool of a data space called Iona-X. So Iona-X is dedicated to a data space dedicated to travel and mobility in France, and working in the context of the closely coming 2024 Paris Olympics. So the idea with My Travel Connect is that what constitutes the trip for a traveler, it's made of services from mobility, from hospitality, and from multiple tourism activities. The hard part is that the traveler's data is scattered across all those different kinds of services. And there are also many, since 95% of the industry is made of very small of SMEs and very small companies. So we've got, if we want to, so the goal is to help to guide the traveler. If we want to guide the traveler in a relevant manner, we need to fetch data from all those multiple sources. It's complex, and it might differ a bit from what happened in skills, since we're talking mostly about private sector companies that might fear each other, or that might not have the technical means to share data. So that's what we are trying to achieve with My Travel Connect, which will be presented as a magic button to push, share, import data, and it will be displayed directly in the interfaces of all the travel services that the traveler will use. So here is our persona. She's called Youngmi, and she's visiting Paris for the 2024 Olympic Games. Besides the event, she wants to explore the city, so see the museums, theme parks, and so on. She does not speak French, and she had a small accident in Seoul before coming to Paris, and so she's in Paris with reduced mobility. And she wants to benefit from a travel assistant that will guide her through the city in her own language, and that will help to gather all the data she has in all the different digital services and propose personalized recommendations and so on. And so you see on this slide the different data categories that are involved: identity data, specific needs like accessibility needs, preferences like language or taste or desires, schedule information, and purchase history on all those many different services. So the My Travel Connect button, magic button, will be used in the EONA-X data space. And you can see some of the partners here, like Air France, Aéroport de Paris, SNCF, Accor Hotel, so big ones. There will be smaller ones, and we will try, of course, to reach new ones that are related to the Olympic Games. And so the idea is to be able to import with the magic button in one click all those data from the traveler into smart travel assistants. So here is a list of a few of them. And to represent this to you, reusing the Youngmi's persona. So we are already discussing with Solideos, which is a data company sharing the same values as Prometheus-X. So Solideos will behave like a smart travel assistant. It's a startup based in Korea. And through My Travel Connect, Solideos will be able to fetch in a few seconds all Youngmi's data present in the Air France airline company, SNCF train company, Accor hospitality, and for instance, it's not done yet, but for instance, it might be also data about the events, the Olympic events Youngmi is attending. So as you see with this use case, and this is the idea of working together with Prometheus-X, we are not from the skills sector, but we share the same issues regarding technical building blocks. So we want to see how we will be able to reuse building blocks made for skills in the tourism sector. And the other level of collaboration happens at the use case level. We believe that achieving cross-sectoral interoperability is the graal of what we are doing in the data spaces. So you can already imagine many use cases cross between skills and tourism, around sports, around culture, or just around the fact that tourism is a market intention. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Olivier. And now that we have seen all the use cases, we need to start looking at how to make this whole happen. You know, the building blocks that we're going to build that will effectively enable these use cases that we have just looked at. So to do so, we're going to introduce, we're going to have Laszlo Gonzi, which is Associate Professor at BME and the lead of technical development. So Laszlo will introduce us the building blocks. Thank you, Laszlo.
Thank you, Marcello, for the introduction. So how we will do and implement all of these use cases which were presented before. So we follow a building blocks driven approach. A building block is a modular open source software which implements logically grouped functionalities and can be deployed in different configurations. These building blocks will be the basis for data spaces, which can have multiple configurations. Users would use these building blocks to connect to a data space. Either they provide data or they provide AI services. And these building blocks are implemented in a way that we have no dependency on a concrete infrastructure. So these can be combined in different combinations and run on different infrastructure. The project has a strong focus on personal data, as mentioned before. which means that we focus on the management of user consent during the entire data sharing and evaluation process. And we support the trustworthiness evaluation of data and algorithms. The purpose of this is to ensure the users that they can rely on the result of the algorithms, and also to see what kind of data was shared in the system, which data is good enough to be analyzed in the system. And then this is done in a decentralized and distributed way. Both the learning analytics components and the visualization of the results is being done in a decentralized way. So we have seen this very general architecture before, on which there are different components and building blocks, and on which we concentrate now on the so-called infrastructure layer, which is developed in Prometheus. There are some blocks which are already running and available, and there are some others which are being developed now in the Edge project. By the end of June, we would have detailed specification, and by the end of the year, we would have the first version available. So let's see how this modular approach is working, what sort of blocks are, what are the main categories and functionalities. We have a core infrastructure. Then we have blocks which are focused more on data processing and assurance the quality of data and evaluate how good the data and algorithms are. And then we build business value on all of these with blocks which leverage on data in the fields of skills, education, tourism, and which directly supports the use cases presented before. So if we have a look on the infrastructural blocks, from these contract, consent, and catalog and identity are already ready, and billing and monitoring is just coming. These blocks together form the basis of the data space. If you like, these are the technical management blocks for the data space and for the contracting with the companies and expressing consent of individual users. We would have a contract consent agent, which would help the user to find the services which would best fit their needs. The entry point for this entire thing is the catalog, which is the entry point for both users, data, and AI services, as presented before. And if we have a look on how data is being processed within this project, in this entire ecosystem, we have different functionalities here organized to blocks. We have a component which is called data alignment, aggregation, and vectorization, which takes data and converts it to uniform format if it comes from, for example, a learning management system. We have a component focusing on edge computing, so how to support the entire data processing in an efficient way, how to scale up its resources, how to set up functionalities. We have a building block which is called data value chain tracker, which is also used for incentivization for the users of this entire data space ecosystem, and which also measures how much a data provider contributed to the ecosystem, how useful its data was in order to improve the services of the ecosystem. We have a data veracity assurance component, which basically investigates and evaluates how much I can trust the data provided by the data providers and then processed in the system, how useful this data was, whether it was really appropriate for given analysis purposes. Analysis is then being done in a way that it's supported by decentralized AI training component, which supports the trustworthy and privacy-preserving AI algorithms and training of such algorithms. We also have a block to assess AI algorithms, both at design and runtime. So we can assess AI providers who want to join to the system, and we can answer questions that how much I can trust in a particular AI model, or what part of a particular AI model should be improved. And once we have all of this, then of course, we want to leverage it on data, primarily on skills data, but not on necessarily only. So we have a block which is called Edge AI Translators, which is performing semantic data processing across these ontologies mentioned before, and offers services like skills gap detection and other services which are all based on the already annotated data from the user. We have a distributed data visualization block. which implements data visualization with privacy preserving functionalities, so that the user can see a visualization of its own data at our own device without necessarily sharing his own data with anyone else. Then we have a component which is implementing the VR learning traces analytics, where VR simulation analysis can be analyzed and replayed for skill improvement, and it also can be attached to different type of learning traces of a given individual. Then we have other components implementing use cases. One is called decentralized personal learning record store. This would be explained in more details by Matt. We have a component for supporting users to do sort of metadata crowd tagging, so that learning objects are specified in a way which makes them more suitable for being analyzed in other components. And then we have a component to collect learning records in a privacy-preserving way from different web-based systems, so that learning traces and different related browsing activities of a user can be combined in a way to give him a better sort of recommendation. And at this point, I'd like to give the floor to Matt to present the decentralized personal learning record data store.
Thank you, Laszlo. So yes, we take a few time to describe, to go deeper in one of these building blocks. So what we want to do with the personal learning record store is to enable the learner to easily gather all the learning record he has in many app or LMS in one single place under his own control. So you know, learning is now happening everywhere in multiple places, and so the data of an individual learner is scattered among various applications. All these applications use this data and provide a service to the user. But if the user wants to use its own data in another way, he cannot do it easily. Cannot do it easily because there is no an easy way to export this data in a place where he can store it and use it. So basically what we are building is we are building an application on top of a cloud-based drive, which is provided by Cozy Cloud. And we are building an application, which is a personal learning record store, that will be able to store the learning record, do some basic visualization, and then to enable the learner to then decide how you want to share their own learning record over which period of time. Because, for example, if he has more than 20 years of learning record, maybe he just want to share the last data with the last year, and he will be able to do so easily. And so we'll do this in partnership with laboratory Loria, with Cozy Cloud, and with Inuko. That's it.
Thank you very much, Matt and Laszlo. There are no further questions, so I will. But you guys make it look very easy. So we'll see how this all this work will pan out. Obviously, great. The next section is about communication and how everybody can get involved, and how we are going to promote the creation of this ecosystem. So I would like to introduce you to Marcos Molkovidis, which is head of project at Data Intelligence Offensive, and Katarzyna Leduc, which is senior communication and community manager for Data Intelligence Offensive. Marcos, Katarzyna.
Hello from my side as well. It's a great honor to be here, a great pleasure as well. Before we get into the communications work, I would like to give you a very brief introduction of who we are at the Data Intelligence Offensive and what we do. So Above all, we are a cooperation platform, which means that we try to identify the best potential partner for you to work together on decentralized data-driven projects, which are at the forefront of innovation, at the forefront of skills as we see right now with edge skills or sustainability. What we do in general is we try to promote everything related to data and the data economy in the European Union, and we work along the values adherent to that as well, which means we promote transparency, we promote data privacy, anything that is also enshrined in the various EU regulations that we have. And to do this, we of course need you and we need your help. And how this looks in practice, I will have my colleague Katarzyna Leduc present.
Thank you very much. Welcome from my side one more time. Thank you, Marco. Yes, today you have heard a lot of very difficult topics, very complex topics from experts with huge expertise. And I'm pretty sure that many of you are very familiar with those topics. You know, speaking about data spaces, building blocks, and use cases. However, I'm also pretty sure that there are some among of you who are sitting over there next to your computer and wondering, is this person really speaking English? Do I understand this person correctly? And yet, there are people who are not very familiar with this topic and want to learn more. And what it needs its translation, so to say. So our role with DEO within the project Prometheus-X, within the initiative, is to translate very complex topics into very simple sentences and to make it easy to understandable and digestible for everybody who wants to learn more. But after all, we are all about reskilling, upskilling, and education. So our role is also, apart from being a translator, we are reaching to relevant stakeholders and want to collaborate with them along the main objectives and within the initiative. We also want to establish a fixed and stable community, and not only in France, not only in Germany, but within Europe, who is interested in European data spaces and training, and who is really interested in developing it, basically. And we also want to promote achievements of the initiative, and we want to promote our partners as well. So our objectives are also very clear and very simple at the same time, and very complex at the same time, because of course communication and dissemination means a lot of engagement. We want to spread information, and we are going to do this in different ways. Right now we are doing it very offensively, to use the name of our organization, on LinkedIn. Of course, you are all welcome to follow us on LinkedIn to be up to date when it comes to the progress of the initiative. We are going to have a website as well, and we will try to inform you also via the website and via newsletter. We are going to create an editorial team so that we have a fixed team within the initiative of Prometheus-X and partners who is dealing with this translation. So who's dealing to, put the complex topics into simple language. And we're going to organize online and offline information events promoting the progress and promoting our tasks and our goals. But to make it round, we won't exist without you, dear audience, and we know that you are our best multiplicators, and you are those who are telling us, guys, you are doing a great job, or guys, you need to improve. So we count on you, and we need you to build a strong community, because you are a part of this community. And we want you to participate in data spaces and benefit from those data spaces, and run upskilling and reskilling in easy, understandable, and actionable manner. And here you can see, this is just a screenshot of our LinkedIn channel. We will also post it in chat. And at the same time, we also want to inform you that we are going to organize meetings, online meetings, to give you a little bit more technical perspective on the progress. So on all about building blocks and also use cases. We plan it to do this every other month, and stay tuned. We are going to inform you. And last but not least, we are pretty sure there was a lot of content during this session today. I know we are still having time for questions and remarks and discussion here. However, we are going to put into the chat, and I'm asking my colleagues to put this into chat, the link to the survey. Just 2 minutes of your time, even not, to let us know what are your takeaways from this session today, whether you enjoyed it and whether you learned something from it. And of course, before I give the floor to Matthias again, you can also reach out directly to Matthias. We will also put the contact data in the chat. However, we are very keen on hearing your opinion and hear your question, hear your remarks. So from my side, thank you very much, and over to you, Matthias.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Do we have some questions from the chat? No? Great.
So I think that from the chat we don't, but we have other questions that we have.
Great, so let's hear them. So this is for Mathieu, and these are some from me. So I'll take mine, and then I'll give it to Mathieu.
Perfect.
Okay?
You want to read the question?
Yes, I will read the question. So we have, do you plan to support other domains as well? So as you saw with Olivier, we have skills, but we have also tourism. And as you saw from the start, and that's what we wanted to show, that we have these concrete tools to share data for a catalog, to handle contracts, to handle consents, to allow people to control and share their data. And I showed the example with some skills data use cases, but you can imagine them in smart cities, in media, in tourism use cases. We are working now with the tourism data space and other data spaces. If you are looking for such components, we'll be more than happy to work with you and to provide you with these components that are open source, that are based on the data space Gaia-X standards and so on, and that are ready to use.
Next question.
When will the platform be available? So I answered it. I will understand the platform as the building blocks. So these are open source components. As I said, the core ones about identity, contract, consent, catalog, the core ones you need are already available on our GitHub. And the next ones, as Laszlo presented, we'll have a first version officially in a year, but some will come sooner. So fill in the form to be in touch. Do I have to upload my data to the platform or directly to the service provider? So again, I'll understand the platform as this data sharing layer, and this data sharing layer does not need to store the data, and it's to share data. So the data is already in one or the other data or service providers, and then you can share it with another one. The data sharing layer handles the authorizations, the interoperability, but does not store the data, and that's not where you upload your data. So those are some questions for Mathieu as well. And I will ask, we have some more time. You see how efficient we are at Prometheus-X. Do we have the form in the chat already? Yes. So you might, that's also some words I wanted to say. You might have said, hey, I want to use those components. They're interesting for me. Or those use cases, I can provide data, I can provide services. I want to build my own use case. That's also what the forum is about, to find other partners. The project is still open. We can bring more people in. And it's, of course, there. The building blocks are there for you to use. So, and we want your feedback on this launch. So if you can take right now 2 minutes as well to fill in the form, that would be great. and you can know how to use these building blocks and be involved. And over to Mathieu.
So yes, the question is, what if the learning traces are not in XAPI format? So yeah, the focus on this talk today was about what we are building in Edge, but in another project, which is called Ariane, we have also started to work on some complementary building block. And within this project, we are working on the learning record converter. So building blocks that will be able to convert learning record in various input format. And the output format will be XAPI, and XAPI according to a specific XAPI profile defined by the DASES community. So the idea is to make a way to make it more easy, to make it easier to have homogeneous data. And so this is an example of how the building block can be combined to have the final result that you want.
The next question is, how do you support the user to evaluate its own educational progress with others?
So how do you support the user to evaluate its own educational progress with other?
I suppose it's with third parties.
So I don't have, I mean, there is not a specific building block addressing this, but on the other hand, addressing this part will be easier to do when this building block will be available. Because, for example, if you have people, if learner can extract and have their own learning record under their own control in their personal learning record store, they can then decide to share it with other applications. And for example, if tomorrow an educational application want to help to do some peer learning, the user will be able to share their data with this new application. And so basically the idea of this building block is not in fact to do something that would be in competition with a commercial solution. It's more to open new use case and enable new commercial solution or any solutions that want to use data and that could not do it because it was too complex to do it from scratch. And the idea with these building blocks is to open a new area of innovation in this field.
Yes, we have some other questions. So from Pavel, how you can get involved, your register on there. Yes, we will revamp this, but for now it's great if you have a use case. Please fill in the form and we'll be in touch for sure. Okay. And for Saskia, more information, yes, there is. So we'll put in a minute the link to our GitHub where you can find the specification, documentation, and so on of these available components.
Is there any technical information?
So yes, I answered this one. And yes, generally, so thank you if there are no other questions. There is another one, okay. Is it possible to translate to local with local? Yes, it is, Olivia. So in any case, you take these components we have, catalog, the contract, the consent, can operate them. You can decide, who joins this ecosystem. It doesn't mean that it's automatically connected or automatically European. So the first steps to do it is same answer. Please fill in the form. We'll be in touch, but we'll see how you can locally set it up. As I said, I hope I'm being clear, is that you don't have to directly register to the full catalog. You can have your own instance of the catalog of these components with your local partners that is, and it can be a closed ecosystem. You can reuse these components. Tomorrow, if you want this local ecosystem to connect with the European ones, then it will be easier because it's on the same components and standards. Hope that answers your question, and please fill in the form so that we can get in touch and show you how to do it. And a bit the same answer as to Saskia as well. We'll put in the link, you'll have the technical information about the components. Any other one? Hello, everyone. Is Prometheus for Europe only, or is it possible for an African education association able to join? Of course, I think it's a bit the same answer, is that you can take these components and tools and apply it in your own context and geography. And it can be African only, or we can do Europe, Africa, if you see some data sets, some AIs that you find useful, or it can be completely closed. It's not European only, and you can fill in the form so that we get in touch and see how to do it concretely and support you in that. And that would be great. As Olivier showed, we are having some links with Korea, South Korea, so it's not only European, despite what the image shows, but we'll expand it.
No more questions?
No more questions.
Okay.
The concept to local partners, so that we answered on the local partners. For security reasons, do you have log enabling you to trace the history? Yes. It was not shown there, but there is, to Xavier's question, there is a monitoring component that is there a bit to check what happens, who does what are the data exchanges, and to monitor if each participant is following the rules. You'll be able to find the specifications of that component on the GitHub as well. And yeah, Xavier, we're already in touch, but fill in the form if you'd like to test it out.
We want final questions. Final thoughts.
On the metaverse. I would say, Thierry, we have a question. So to the relation, so I don't know if so it's anonymous. I don't know if you were there during the XR use case presentation, but yes, there are connections. We have partners towards that. So if you can just say a few words.
Yeah, no problem. Again, the buzzword, the metaverse. The thing is, when you are performing a training using a virtual reality module, you can be alone in front of the bench and performing your experiments, or if you are in collaboration with other users, with your trainer, with people in the same space, then collaboration becomes a sort. This is the definition of metaverse, being as avatars on the same place. So it's more difficult to perform on the technical point of view for training, but it exists. We have very good examples of platforms that provide this kind of spaces. And of course, another word for the definition of metaverse is it has to be permanent. So if you leave something, you will find it at the same place if you come back, if you log in your space again. So that was a few words I could say about it.
Great, thank you, Thierry. Any new ones since Thierry's? And thank you for your question. If you have, don't hesitate.
No.
Okay. So again, please fill in the form so that we get your feedback on how it went, and also so that if you can indicate what you want to be involved in, so that we can get in touch ASAP. Just a final word. I'm personally very excited to have here today people from 10 different countries to work 2 days on all this topic and to launch this next phase. And also very excited about this launch. We had about 150 people, I think, during the main presentation on data spaces. I don't think we see a lot of events on data spaces with 150 people. We showed you that it's already concrete, that you can already use it, and we showed you the next steps. As we said, we'll be in touch. We'll invite you every 2 months to maybe shorter meetings, but to show you the concrete progress. And we hope it was interesting. And if we find new use cases in Africa and in others, that is a great success. So congratulations, everybody. Thank you. And let's keep in touch. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
So thank you very much from my side as well. As said, communication will follow. Just give us a little bit of time because we are, as you can see, in the motion right now. So thank you very much and enjoy the evening. Bye-bye.